Okay, hello everybody. Today we're here in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 in Carenado's C182 Skylane RG2. We have an 84 nautical mile flight from David Wayne Hooks International Delta Whiskey Hotel, flying underneath the Bravo, doing a sightseeing loop past downtown Houston, and returning back to David Hooks. Houston is part of SamScene3D's Modern City Volume 3 pack, so it should look fantastic. Let's hop into the pilot seat and get started. Alright, we get a little bit of parking traffic here to our left and clear on our right. So head down here and check that our circuit breakers are all in, our switches are off, mixture to idle cutoff, throttle to idle. Our parking brake is set, our trim is set to takeoff, our rudder trim is set to center. Fuel selector will rotate through each position and then back to center. That all looks good. We checked our cowl flaps, they are open. Turn on the battery and the alternator. Turn on the beacon. Check our fuel quantity left and right, and we do have full fuel tanks left and right, so that looks good for today's trip. Try to find the Hobbs meter. Not quite sure where the Hobbs meter is on this. I'll find it eventually, log our time. Check that the prop area is clear. Clear prop. Bring the mixture into full rich. Crack the throttle. Prime it 1, 2, 3 strokes of the primer. Alright. Check the prop area again, and we do have some traffic. This is a nice busy airport for traffic. Nice. Let him clear the front of the prop area here. Alright. Feet are on the brakes. Our keys are in the ignition. And we'll crank it over. RPM's just under 1,000. We do have oil pressure. Looks like a good start. We could lean the mixture for ground operations. Gotta head down here, turn on the avionics switch. There we go. Avionics are coming on. Transponder to standby. And as the Garmin boots up, it's a little noisy, so we could turn over here to the window and close the window. And note, we do have tinted glass, so everything's just a little bit bluish gray when we're looking outside.
David Wayne Hooks Memorial Airport, Information Whiskey. 1949er Zulu. Wind 155 at 7. Visibility 10. Sky conditions, scattered at 5500 feet. Scattered at 7,000 feet. Temperature 34. Dew point 22. Altimeter 29906. Density altitude 2400 feet.
Field elevation is only 152 feet, but density altitude is 2,400, so it says if we were at an altitude of 2,400 for performance today. Hooks Ground says in a 402 Foxtrot Whiskey, parked at Gill Aviation, taxi for Southwest departure with Information Whiskey.
Cessna 402 Foxtrot, Whiskey Hooks Ground, taxi to runway 17 left via Charlie Papa Echo Kilo.
Taxi runway 17 left via Charlie Papa Echo Kilo, Cessna 2 Foxtrot Whiskey. Alright, as we taxi, I'll open up ForeFlight and take you through the flight brief. So first we'll test our brakes. They work. Clear on our right and our left. And we're on our way. So we are departing from David Wayne Hooks, which is a Class Delta beneath the Class Bravo of Houston. There's actually 2 Bravo airports that make up the Class Bravo, George Bush International to the north and William P. Hobby to the south. We'll be flying underneath the Bravo and between those 2 airports using a VFR flyway. So on the flyway map, you can see the flyway itself is 1,500 because the Bravo shelf starts at 2,000. However, we can really fly at any altitude under 2,000. We're going to fly at 1,800 to give ourselves a little bit of breathing room from the Bravo and account for any error in our altimeter. There are lots of major highways along this route, and I like to use things like highways, especially that you need to cross in your path as visual landmarks. So we're going to use those for navigation. Our first is the intersection of 290 and 1960 here to the west, so we'll turn southeast. Then we are going to follow 290 right to downtown Houston. We'll look for the intersection of 610 and 10, and then we will follow 10 flying right past downtown Houston north of it, so we won't be overflying it. If we head south of it, we would end up in the ground section of the Bravo for William P. Hobby Field, so we don't want to do that. So instead, as long as we fly over Interstate 10, which goes east-west, we'll remain clear of the southern Bravo space. And we'll keep on following 10 until we get to the intersection of BW8, which is here on the east. And once we hit that intersection, we'll turn northeast, and now we've got a bunch of lakes, which are nice references. We've got Sheldon Lake and Houston Lake on our left. We're going to look for the town of Crosby, which is just east of Houston Lake. Then we're going to turn northwest, look for Highway 99, turn west, look for the crossing of Interstate 45, and then turn southwest towards the field. Oaks Tower, Cessna 402 Foxtrot Whiskey, holding short, runway 17 left at Kilo, ready for departure.
Cessna 402 Foxtrot Whiskey, Oaks Tower, runway 17 left, winds 165 at 11, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 17 left, Cessna 402 Foxtrot Whiskey. Alright, this is the shorter of the two runways. It has an interesting taxiway connection here. The taxiway almost dumps you straight on to the runway, but the hold short line's pretty far back. We got all lined up here. A little bit of wind today. You heard the wind at 11 knots, and it's supposed to increase over the course of our trip. In fact, we're going to have a bit of changing weather conditions over the course of the trip, and we're running with active sky to give us some nice weather. Speaking of changing weather conditions, I did get to do some real flying this week finally after waiting for the weather to cooperate, and the weather barely cooperated. It was an overcast, kind of gloomy day, but it was good for doing some pattern work, so I did a bunch of laps around the pattern to work on my landing. And I'll say, as a student pilot, you think I can't wait till I get my license so I don't need to keep flying in circles in the pattern. Well, after you get your license, you also get to keep flying in circles in the pattern because it's a good way to maintain your proficiency and keep your skills sharp. Alright, as soon as we're clear of the airport and at a safe altitude, we'll make our turn onto our initial heading, and then we're going to fly that heading until we reach our first waypoint. We're climbing up to 1,800 feet today, and we need to really be strict with our altitude because if we drift up in altitude, we'll bust the Bravo. We'll adjust the throttle and the manifold. We are flying a complex aircraft that has a variable pitch propeller, so we need to adjust that. Right now the weather's pretty nice. Hopefully it'll hold for our entire trip. And we've just reached our cruise altitude of 1,800, so we'll nose over to level flight. We're on track, so let's sit back and enjoy that awesome flight simulator scenery. talk you through the last leg of our flight because it's a little interesting. So we are landing at a towered field and need to get the updated ATIS.
Wayne Hooks Memorial Airport, information Lima. 2034 wind 155 at 7.
Hooks Tower, Cessna 402 Foxtrot Whiskey, 12 miles northeast at 1,800. Request full stop landing with information Lima.
Cessna 2 Foxtrot Whiskey, you have information Mike, not Lima. Winds 145 at 9er, gusting 16, runway 17 right, cleared to land.
Okay, we'll get information Mike, cleared to land, runway 17 right, Cessna 402 Foxtrot Whiskey.
17 left. Advise on initial contact, you have information Mike.
Hooks Tower, Cessna 402 Foxtrot Whiskey with information Mike.
Cessna 2 Foxtrot Whiskey, roger, information Mike.
So the ATIS updates hourly, and we got it about a minute before the update, and I think it's cool that the AI called us out for having the wrong ATIS code. The phraseology was a little odd. It should have been something like information Mike is current, but I think it was still cool.
Tower, Charlie, number 867 Victor requesting flight following to West Houston, Kilo, India Whiskey Sierra at 1,500.
Skylane 86 Papa Victor Hooks Tower, hey Domingo. The boys in the FBO told me you were new here. Welcome to Say Intentions. After departure, maintain VFR at or below 1500 feet. Departure with Houston approach on 119.7, squawk 1200.
I like that feature as well. If you're a new Say Intentions pilot, then you'll get a welcome message customized for you. And there's other features like if you frequently fly to a Class Delta tower, the tower will get to know you and sometimes will greet you by name. We weren't given a pattern entry, so we are choosing a left base for runway 17 left, and it's time to get the gear down.
Hooks Tower, entry off here is about 8 miles to the northeast, requesting full stop wind.
Alright, with the gusting wind, this first landing didn't go well, and I thought it was interesting how the AI handled it, so we'll play some clips. So we've got some power lines here creating a displaced threshold that I came in a bit high for, and then we're very non-stabilized. You can see me oscillating left and right here on landing. The wind pushes me way off to the side in the float, and I elect for a go around. I say Hooks Tower, Cessna 402 Foxtrot Whiskey going around.
Cessna 2 Foxtrot Whiskey, enter right downwind for runway 17 right.
Enter right downwind, runway 17 right, Cessna 2 Foxtrot Whiskey. The AI gave me right traffic from my position, which made total sense. That was right on for a go around. My controls are a bit too sensitive. In fact, I disconnected the rudder pedals at the beginning of this flight and switched to the twist axis, and that's biting me a bit here because you can see I'm using the ailerons to line up, which is what's causing my wings to rock back and forth instead of the rudder pedals, which would keep my wings level. But I managed to pull it off and land nicely right on the center line.
Cessna 2 Foxtrot Whiskey, welcome to Hooks. Contact ground on 121.8.
Over to ground on point 8, Cessna 2 Foxtrot Whiskey. Hooks ground, Cessna 402 Foxtrot Whiskey, clear runway 17 right at Echo, taxi to Gill Aviation.
Cessna 402 Foxtrot Whiskey, Hooks ground, taxi to West Terminal via Echo, cross runway 17 right, then Golf. Have a good day.
Alright, looks like they saved my favorite parking spot for me. This is an awesome freeware airport, by the way. Check out the video details if you'd like to download it. SamScene3D Volume 3 came with a bunch of Dallas cities, and I'm trying to visit all of them. The last one is Austin, so hopefully I can do a flight out of there next. So I hope you enjoy realistic general aviation content like this. If you do, be sure to click that like button. It really helps the algorithm. Leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks as always for flying along with me, and stay tuned for further flight adventures.